And it's time for us to get started on Breakfast Central. Let's focus on the ongoing political developments in Rivers State, where the House of Assembly, led by Speaker Victor Oko-Jumbo, has moved to invoke the provisions of the 1999 Constitution against 25 members who are loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Now, these lawmakers who defected to another political party now face the possibility of losing their seats. The Assembly has also expressed frustration with the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, for its failure to conduct by-elections to fill these vacant seats, leaving large sections of Rivers State without representation.
And so to help us understand the dynamics at play and what this means for the state's governance, we're joined by Ogbonna Nwuke, as a former member of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Mr. Nwuke, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you so much. I was a member of the National Assembly, not state.
All right. Thank you for that correction, sir.
Apologies for that.
Yes. Now, so let's start with the recent motion presented by the Rivers State House of Assembly. What's your reaction, first off? Let's get that out the way. What's your reaction to the Assembly's decision to invoke the provision of the 1999 Constitution against the 25 members loyal to Nyesom Wike? Do you think this is justified?
Well, I think here we are not talking about numbers. We are not talking about justification. We are talking about constitutional provisions. And frankly, the Martis Amehule-led faction was the first to take steps that not many people here understood. They said that the lawmakers, legitimate lawmakers who have not defected, have been suspended or something like that, say accusing them of not attending plenary. Okay, and you see, it's become a ding-dong affair in Rivers, you know, because of the ongoing fight between the Minister of FCT and the Governor of Rivers State. And quite frankly, looking at it from the perspective of the Rivers people are honestly tired of this fighting. The fact that the attention of the administration is being distracted, the fact that a peaceful state is being dragged into the open by combatants, and also the fact that we think that we must travel along the trajectory that has taken Rivers State in terms of development and provision of infrastructure to where we are now. So, frankly, the 4 lawmakers who are led by Amehule drew the first blood. They were the ones to create this impression that they are conquering, only drawing attention to the provision of the Constitution, which is 1091G, you know, which says that if you abandon the political party upon which you were elected, the platform that brought you to power, then you have no business in the assembly. And so that's where we are now.
And so I have to ask this question, right? With these 25 seats now vacant following the defections of these 25 members, the House has expressed frustration with INEC's delay in conducting by-elections. So as a former member of the National House of Assembly, how critical is it for these by-elections to take place promptly? And what do you believe it's behind INEC's delay?
I think there's been a litany of court actions. While some people argue that the constitutional provision itself is equitable, others think it's something that is subject to arguments in court. Even when it is clear, the Supreme Court has ruled severally on matters relating to defections of lawmakers, of the recent ones being that of a lawmaker from Labour who was relieved of his seat, and lawmakers in Cross River State too. Now, the point here is that perhaps, I'm not going to speak for INEC because I don't work in INEC, but I'm thinking strongly that perhaps the ongoing court actions, you know, may in the main be responsible for its inability to conduct the by-elections. The implication is that perhaps INEC is waiting for an order a proper order from the judiciary to commence that process.
Now, it will seem that INEC seems, like you've just said, INEC seems to be waiting for the judiciary, but should that be the natural order of things? Should INEC actually be waiting for the judiciary? Because in this case, it seems like polity now is being decided by a judiciary instead of INEC itself. If the law states that if they're absent or if there's a resignation, there should be a by-election, then INEC should just take that over instead of wait for a judiciary to, to make action.
This is the point. The constitutional provision is very clear. It's not something that INEC ought to sit on the fence. But this is Nigeria, where officers look up to Oga at the top. So the implication is that perhaps there are signals that INEC probably is waiting for, maybe legitimately from the courts. Because here, we say we have an independent electoral commission, and this means that the independent electoral commission should act independently. This may not be the case, as we are seeing in Rivers, where INEC appears to be looking behind his back. So, but I think that we ought to, they say the wheels of justice grind slowly but surely. And our expectation here in Rivers is that at the fullness of time, INEC will do what is right.
Speaking of INEC doing what is right, we have to talk about this. The Speaker of the House also called out INEC for not filling a seat that has been vacant since the death of a member from Kana. Hopefully I got that correctly, which is part of the, I think, local government areas there in Rivers State. How do you think of this in terms of, representation? Do you think this lack of representation affects the governance of the entirety of Rivers State, especially in regions where constituencies are currently without representation?
Honestly, the basic reason behind the representation is that those who are elected represent their constituents. And so in the case of an unfortunate departure of a lawmaker who died in course of service in state, the expectation has been that INEC would do the best in terms of organizing elections, but has not done so. Maybe again, it may want to organize all of the elections together. Perhaps. I'm not, like I said, I'm not holding any brief for INEC. But what this should be is a wake-up call to INEC. INEC must discharge its responsibilities to the Nigerian people, not to the government of the day. And frankly, democracy has become a way of life. And quite a lot of Nigerians are looking forward to participating in the electoral process. You should take an example of what happened in Rivers a week or so when we went for local government elections. You will see the enthusiasm among the voters. You will see the level of awareness that has been created in our state. And I think which has also been created in Nigeria. Nigerians want to participate in the process. They want a clean process. They want a transparent process. And they want an electoral body that is fair, just, an electoral body that stands tall enough to deliver on its mandate.
So, sir, it seems to be Amawale versus Oko-Jumbo, but in actual fact, let's face it, it's similar for Bara versus Nyesom Wike. Now, this is affecting Rivers State in more ways than one. It's a very important state when it comes to the resource of Nigeria. The people are suffering. Nobody seems to be taking account of that. How do you see this affecting the stability politically of Rivers State? Not just that, also the people as well. Because in all of this conversation, no one has said exactly how the people are faring.
Well, what is at stake here, in my view, is the mandate of the Rivers people. That mandate is held by Governor Nyesom. And it explains why, in course of this ding-dong fight, more Rivers people are standing behind the governor of happening in the political space, constitute a distraction, honestly. But as somebody who lives in Port Harcourt, somebody who is in the state, I can tell you that the government, regardless of these distractions, is focused, is delivering on infrastructure, is delivering on its goals, its policies. So, give and take. Yes, we could have traveled faster if this crisis was not here. Now, our hope as Rivers people is that the gladiators, SCT minister, must give peace a chance. We salute the demeanor of all channels of engagement who thinks that Rivers will be better if everyone were to keep the peace. And honestly speaking, regardless of the crossfires that you see, Rivers State is safe. And our people are going about their normal business without fear. You know, so, but there has to be a stop. The fact is, Fubara had elected to be his own man after the elections, in line with the aspirations, the yearnings of Rivers people. And this did not go down well with those who claim they brought him. Now, we want to commend those who brought him, but we want to insist that Fubara was brought to power to serve Rivers people. And Governor Fubara is serving Rivers people. So we would like the minister, with due respect, he's not on trial here, but as someone who has governed Rivers State, as someone who has benefited from Rivers State, our thinking is that time has come for the minister to back down. While in office, he used to say Melembe, Melembe. And we would like to use the opportunity to ask the minister to Melembe in the interest of Rivers people. Okay? He served Rivers State for 8 years, and we are not aware that anyone controlled or teleguided him. And the Rivers people want Fubara to be his own man. They want Fubara to make his mistakes where possible, but they want Fubara to learn from those mistakes and govern Rivers State. He's the front man now. Our expectation is that the one who handed over to him, who told us prior to this time that he would never interfere in the running of governance in Rivers State after his tenure, should live up to his promise. And a lot of expectations here from Rivers people that our former governor will do right, not to do things that will hurt the long-term interests of Rivers State.
Mr. Nwuke, once again, still on stability, there have been arguments in many places telling that the ruling party actually benefits from this instability that's happening inside of the PDP. One would think, or one could argue, that their nonchalance regarding the situation is because they are benefiting from everything that's happening as they look forward to the elections come 2027. So what's your take on that? Why has no word come from the ruling party regarding the instability in Rivers State? And why is there that factor where Nyesom Wike is still, well, working under the APC while still creating, it would seem, plenty of, instances in Rivers State where he was the past governor?
I think we have a situation where one man has his two legs, one in the PDP and one in the APC. And of course, if you looking at the trends which just played out, there have been suspensions at the national level of the acting national chairman, the national secretary, and suspensions of the publicity secretary and the legal advisor. But the governors called everybody to order saying return to status quo so that the meeting can hold on October 24th. Now, but it is instructed to note that this is not a normal situation. There's no way, if Wike wants to cross over to the APC, let him do so. He cannot serve the interests of the APC and then undermine the collective interests of those in the PDP, including struggling for leadership of the PDP in Rivers State. Everybody knows by convention that the governor of a state ought to be leader of a state. And we find this quite strange. For the first time in Rivers State, we are having somebody who has finished his tenure, who has moved on to Abuja, who wants to head the party. And like I said, these are strange times. Well, even when you talk about the APC in Rivers State, you can see that regardless of the court decision, one Tony Okocha has been hoisted on the APC. But Emeka Bekele just won a case in court, which says that there's no way an elected executive could have been thrown aside the way they did.
What do you think is
there's a
deliberate?
lot of confusion, political confusion as a result of the middlesomeness of our brother who's in Abuja.
But do you think it's deliberate? Do you think the APC is actually gaining from this?
Of course, of course. The destabilization of PDP states is something critical to the success of the APC in 2027. And of course, those who are serving under the watch of the president have continuously told this country that they will deliver the president in 2027. So what is happening in Rivers State is a product of that attempt, to subdue a serving government, to destabilize a peaceful state and create confusion, This is what is playing now, because there's no reason why the president shouldn't call Mr. Nyesom Wike to order. He should be called to order.
And when you look at Rivers State, I think at this point now we can target as rivers of crisis, just giving everything that's happened in the last 6 months and even further. And so it begs to ask the question, with the remaining members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and then the 25 vacant seats, and also Victor Oko-Jumbo and Amawale, it just begs to ask the question: where do you think this will end? As a former member of a National House of Assembly, looking at this from a bird's eye view, you've been there, you've done this before. What is the best scenario for this to be resolved amicably for all parties involved, and consolidating on the mandate of the people of Rivers State?
First of all, we shouldn't be seeing the flip-flop that we're seeing in the courts. I think the judicial officers, particularly at the High Court level, know what the position of the Supreme Court is on matters like this. And it amounts to a waste of time when judges allow those who engage in foreign shopping to confuse an already confused political climate. Now, for me, I believe that no matter what happens, all of these matters will get to the Supreme Court. And I think it's at the Supreme Court level that justice should be done. But let me say this. What you see as a political crisis, and which is true, has not affected governance in Rivers State. Yes. As you probably are aware, there's a ring road, Port Harcourt ring road, that is ongoing. There's a Trans-Calabari highway that's under construction. Government here is paying strict attention to health, education, and agriculture. And we are beginning to, the policies are beginning to take effect, and the people are beginning to warm up to these new directions. And no matter what happens, we are better. We are better if the peace was to be here, because the governor has already created the environment for peace. Now, regardless of what happens, no matter how much noise noisy neighbors are making, I think that we can be that the march forward in Rivers cannot be stopped.
I have to ask you, sir, and giving a former member of the National House of Assembly, right, and meaning that you were once part of the ruling class, I have to ask, with all that's happened, with Rivers State and all that we're seeing currently with this administration, when are we ever going to get members of the ruling class who are sincere about, coming in to do work, a good work, and that is the dividends of democracy, instead of being tools and pawn in a fight that, that is clearly between two people? Because all these members that we're seeing, they're all loyal to this person or that person, but never to the people. When do we see this? How did we get here? Did we miss something along the way? Help us understand.
I think that the ambition of a man or ambition of those who are closely associated with him has brought us this past. Honestly, democracy works when there is the collaboration between the legislature and the executive, and when both arms of government help to create the necessary environment for the development of their people or their state, as the case may be. Now, it's unfortunate that, particularly for those who, for no reason, in broad daylight in December last year, decided to decamp. Okay, because if you look at the wordings of the Constitution, the framers did not intend that it may disagree at state level. Now, I would think that the division that the Constitution was talking about, or is talking about, is that division that occurs at the national level. And you can see how much the PDP is even doing to ensure that there is no division at the national level. Okay, so these gentlemen hurriedly decided to abandon ship. And we have seen part of the drama. People who sang on the mandate we shall stand, who waved tiny APC flags, who addressed the press, are now performing somersaults. Now we are hearing strange things. Strange arguments like their names have not been removed from the PDP register. Oh, their names have not appeared before on the APC register. Those are strange arguments. The major argument is, did they move, did they decamp? By their own words, they decamped. So, you can see, but I think that our democracy will be better for it. We are doing what we can as a nation to embrace this new way. And we want to thank God that since the practice of democracy started under this republic, it has not been in any way jettisoned. It's a good mark. And we think that, yes, we will stumble as politicians, and we will get to know better. We'll get to understand that the people come first, and that the interest of the state or the nation matters most. Now, perhaps people should also understand what people are saying outside our shores, that we don't need strong men. What we need are strong institutions. And I expect that those who are engaged in this battle, who are trying to subjugate the governor, intimidate the governor of Rivers State, who are trying to seize power, and turn him into a puppet.
Okay, we're having a bit of an issue there with Mr. Nwuke's connection. We're hoping that we can sort that out. But I was going to ask him a very interesting question, Judith, and this is regarding exactly who to pay attention to right now. If the Supreme Court has said that Martin Zamawule is a certified representative of the River State House of Assembly, and the Victor Oko-Jumbo group are saying that, no, we're going to nullify you guys, all 26 members of you who left from before. That's going against the court order, first of all. That's not all. Now, the Martin Zamawule-led group are also now telling that they're going to also nullify the appointment of 4 of the lawmakers, saying that they have not been on seat for over 150 days. So I'm wondering exactly how this plays out and who we're supposed to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because River State looks like a very childish situation.
And that's why I had to
point.
ask that question. I mean, and he also made a comment to that regarding the conflicting court orders and how this has also played in it played his role in how this has played out. Well, I must say thank you, Mr. Ogbonna Nwuke. He's a former member of the National House of Assembly and has joined us today to share insights on this very complex issue and the political crisis in River State. We do hope for hope for a resolution for the benefit of the people of River State. What I take away from this conversation is that we're able to put the people of Rivers at the center and able to represent their voices, and what really truly matters is governance. Once again, Mr. Ogbonna, many thanks. We appreciate you for coming on.